Hello and welcome back. This is the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast, and I'm your host, Nathan Robillard. This week, we look at a helicopter crash in South Kingstown, the solar eclipse that took center stage on campus, calls for ceasefire overseas continue, and as always, we catch up on everything URI athletics with this week's Roadie Sports Corner. All that and more on this week's Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. First up this week, a helicopter crashed into a pond in South Kingstown on Tuesday morning. The pilot of the aircraft and one other passenger climbed out of the helicopter as soon as it hit the water and were rescued by a local fisherman who was out on the water. Both men were treated for minor injuries. The chopper, leased by Regent Craft and owned by Nantucket Helicopter, was being used to test sensors over the pond at the time of the crash. It is still unclear whether or not the helicopter will be able to be removed from the water, but experts say there is no major environmental harm expected. Elsewhere, the solar eclipse took over campus this week as hundreds of students flocked to the quad to get a view of the rare event. Ryan Palillo was there and tells us more about how students spent their time on what was a beautiful day in Kingston.
We're here at the University of Rhode Island's quad where hundreds of students have gathered to check out the total solar eclipse. This is the first solar eclipse since 2017 and the last one until 2044. We're going to go talk to a few students and get their input. So we're here with some spectators for the solar eclipse. So how are you guys celebrating this grand day?
Honestly, these things are a blessing because I can look up and it's so, honestly.
It's great. It's already started.
Honestly, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, not gonna lie.
How long have you guys been out here?
Since the start, probably around like
30 minutes.
2 p.m. Yeah.
And you're already starting to see.
Yeah, it started like 15 minutes ago.
It's great.
Slow but steady.
Well, we still got about, I believe, 45 minutes until it's total, I think it says.
Right.
Yeah,
so just gonna kick it till then and hang out.
All right, great to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're here with more of the Eclipse spectators. Talk to us, what have you guys been doing so far to keep yourselves entertained?
Well, first we waited in a line for like half an hour to try to get glasses, and then they ran out, so we didn't. But then we ended up getting them.
Okay.
And we're watching the sun slowly get covered, which is cool. But in the meantime, I've just kind of been being bad at soccer. I'm supposed to be pretty good at it, but I'm not, so that's what's been going on for me.
I'm echoing Nate's point. I'm also attempting to be good at soccer and really just not hitting the mark. But overall, really enjoying the vibes out here. Seeing a lot of people. It's kind of nice after a long, winter, a lot of really cold days. Having a nice warm day like this, the sun's out, people are out. It's very inspiring. I feel like I'm in one of those like college commercials that you see during March Madness, where they say like this is the best school ever, and right now it feels like it.
I've not been pretending to be good at soccer or been attempting to play soccer at all. I've been suntanning on the towels and eating the chips while everybody else plays soccer.
So you saw it there first, folks. Solar eclipse here on the URI quad. We saw tons of reactions. We saw more students than I think I've ever seen, at least on the quad, and more than most people had to say. So, without further ado, back to you.
As the war between Israel and Palestine continues overseas, students on campus continue to make their voices heard this week in a protest calling for ceasefire. For more on the story, here's Peter Gigliotti.
Pray 5 times a day, by the way. Like, we have a connection with God.
Is like a fundamentally Zionist organization.
Thanks, Peter. Now I'll send it over to Aiden Garvey for this week's edition of Roadie Sports Corner.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Roadie Sports Corner. I'm Aiden Garvey. In a game against Stonehill, second-year baseball player Michael Anderson broke the school record for runs batted in during a single game with 12. Our very own Matt Demek has the story.
Last year, a freshman took URI baseball by storm. His name, Michael Anderson. Michael was named to the All-Atlantic Conference second team, as well as being named an All-American freshman. And so far into the 2024 season, he's continued his dominance.
Hailing from Havertown, Pennsylvania, Michael Anderson is the Rams' starting first baseman. As a freshman, Anderson started in all 52 games, earning 66 hits, 10 home runs, and 43 RBIs. URI head coach Rafael Serrato was surprised by Anderson's immediate success at the collegiate level.
I would say yes, it was a really big surprise because he didn't hit the entire fall. because he broke his hamate bones. It didn't. So he basically didn't hit the entire fall and started hitting like winter, and like, oh my God, this guy's got to play every day.
Anderson's success from last season has clearly carried over into this one. He's batting .275 with an OPS over 1. Anderson is already closing in on his home run total from last year, knocking out 7 through 24 games. After his tremendous freshman year, Anderson has continued to find ways to make history in Rhode Island. On March 20th, URI took on Stonehill. Anderson dominated at the plate, blasting 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and a triple in the 19-15 victory. Anderson shattered the program record for single-game RBIs, bringing home 12 base runners. He also set the single-game record for total bases with 15.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had no idea that there was a record or anything really of it. I mean, I kind of just was told after the game, you broke the record, and I was like, really? That's sick. It wasn't really going through my head during the game. I was just trying to get good at bats, and then just kind of broke it from there, honestly.
As Anderson continues to improve as a player, he has also taken a leap this season in ways that cannot be seen in a record book. Coach Serrato recognizes him as one of the team's leaders in the dugout.
If there is one area that you see him, it's not necessarily the production, it's the leadership ability. It's bringing other guys along with him. And even though he's a sophomore, he's one of our best leaders.
One of the qualities that Anderson demonstrates as a leader is his no-I-in-team attitude.
I don't necessarily have personal goals, honestly. Just always trying to improve. Winning games is obviously the biggest thing, is the most important. So if I go 0 for 4 and we still win, that's a win in my book, honestly. Just giving my best foot forward just to get the team to win.
As the URI baseball team continues to grow, building around their young talent, great things are on the horizon in Kingston, with Michael Anderson leading the way. For Cigar Sports, this is Matt Demick reporting.
After splitting the opening doubleheader, softball took on Loyola University Chicago in the rubber match of a 3-game series on Sunday. Ryan McKenna was there to catch all of the action from the contest.
On Sunday, the Rams took on Loyola Chicago in a series-deciding game after splitting the doubleheader on Saturday. Leadoff hitter Ava Beanman would hit a ground ball to third to start the game, but would beat the throw to first for an infield single. Later on in the same inning, 1 out, 1 on, Haley Wallace would drive in Beanman with an RBI double to give Loyola a 1-0 lead in the top of the first. Elena Gonzalez would knock one to the opposite field for a single to make it first and second with 1 out. Belinsky up to the plate. She takes ball 4 to make it bases loaded, 1 out for Rhode Island. Sydney Yoder up next, and she lines one, but it's caught by the shortstop for the 2nd out. Third baseman Emily Power up to bat, bases loaded, 2 outs, and she strikes out swinging, and Loyola escapes the jam. Next at bat, Bella Cremaldi grounds one to second, but is able to beat out the throw at first to avoid the double play, allowing the run to score. Bottom 4, 1 out, 1 on. Becca Zatowski lines out to third. Barnett tries to throw it back to first to turn 2, but throws it away. Power tries to advance on the wild throw, but gets tagged out to end the inning. After 4 innings, Loyola leads 2-0. Top of the 5th, Jocelyn Curry leading off, and she blasts a ball to left field for a stand-up double to start the inning for the Ramblers as they look to add on to their lead. Later on, same inning, 1st and 2nd, 1 down, Sydney Barnett knocks a double into left field. Hannah Hernandez tries to make the throw home to beat the runner, but it's offline, and the run comes in, and Loyola's lead is now 3-0. Next batter, Liz Sudeikis up to the plate. She pokes one out to right. It's caught. Wallace tags up and scores for the 2nd run of the inning to come across for Loyola. After 5, Loyola leads 4-0. To the top of the 6th, 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Curry grounds one to third. Power tries to make the tag on the runner, but the ball comes out. Everyone's safe. Bases loaded. To the top of the 7th inning, Liz Sudeikis up. She smacks a ball into the left center gap for a stand-up double, and now Loyola has a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Abby Grigas up to the plate, and she drives one over the left field wall for a 2-run home run in the top of the 7th to give Loyola some insurance runs. For the 7th, Rhodey trying to string something together. Runners on 1st and 2nd. Leland Alvarez grounds a ball up the middle to short, and Loyola turns the double play to end the game. Loyola ends up winning this one by a score of 6-0.
And now for some scores around campus. Baseball won 2 of 3 games in their weekend series against the University of Massachusetts before topping Brown in a midweek contest on Tuesday. Softball took only one of a 3-game series against Loyola Chicago before losing both games of a doubleheader against Brown on Tuesday. Men's golf placed second of 8 teams at the Dragon Play Match Invitational. Men's track and field placed first of 10 teams at the UMass Spring Invitational. Women's track and field placed 8th of 13 teams at the same event. Women's rowing won 5 of 10 events at the Overpeck Invitational. And finally, women's tennis beat Richmond 4-2 on their senior day. Fifth-year Nadia Rajan won A10 Player of the Week for her performance. That's all for this week's Brody Sports Corner. Make sure to keep up with everything to date in athletics for this coming week on our social media at cigar_sports. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Aiden. Here's what you need to know going into this week. At 6 p.m. on Friday in Edwards Auditorium, the Multicultural Unity and Cultural Involvement Center will be hosting In Diversity We Trust, an event that promotes small business and local talent in Rhode Island. Students are encouraged to come support, buy merchandise, and come see performances by local artists. On Saturday from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., a Rep Yo flag event in the Memorial Union will feature an all-night party involving several different cultures, inviting students to join in and get funky on the dance floor. This week, we got our first hint of true spring weather as temperatures approached the 70s earlier in the week. After weeks of cloudy, rainy days, I went out and about asking students how they were taking advantage of the weather in this week's edition of the Robillard Report.
We're in the quad and I'm in sunglasses and shorts, which can only mean one thing. It's finally nice out. And as is tradition, with the first 60+ degree day of the year here in Kingston, all the students have flocked out onto the quad, so we are going around today and asking students how they're taking advantage of the good weather. Okay, so it's the first 60-degree day here on campus, which naturally means about 1 million people have flocked to the quad, and I can't blame them. So I'm here with, what's your name?
Tor.
Tor and Nick, and we're gonna talk to you guys about how you're taking advantage of this beautiful day here on campus. So obviously we have the visuals, the guitar, but what are you guys doing out here today, and how are you enjoying the good weather?
Really enjoying it. Just photosynthesizing out here, just soaking it in. We've really needed this nice weather to lift the spirits.
Yeah, honestly. I'll say I came out here with the plan to do my homework in the sun. Got here, sat down, and was like, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna take a second to breathe.
You've been serenading us with some guitar today?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know about serenading, but people can hear it.
It's good. It adds to the mood. All right, thanks guys. So I'm here with the Scar Zone Peter Gigliotti, again in keeping with the Robillard Report tradition, that every week we come across someone who is involved with the cigar. Peter, how are you enjoying the nice weather today?
I love it, man. You know, it's always nice when we get to come outside, and it starts actually feeling like college when people come out. You see people throwing the frisbees, you got people on the hammocks down there. It's pretty nice. You know, I love the weather. I'm going on a walk after this. Pretty excited.
What are you working on here?
Doing a little journalism project for Journalism 330 with Professor Kendall Moore. Definitely recommend it for all those journalism students out there. But right now we're just interviewing students, asking about the climate change, things like that. You know.
Sick. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
There you have it. I'm going to keep enjoying this weather. So is my cameraman Lucas. But thank you so much for tuning in to this week's edition of the Robillard Report. Here in Rhode Island, although we got a pretty close view, we weren't able to get a full coverage view of the solar eclipse. While we stayed back and watched from campus, Aiden Cahill traveled up north to somewhere that did. In this week's edition of Aiden on Location, we get a look inside the path of totality.
This week on Location, we're traveling to an as-of-yet undecided location in northern New England for a chance to see an incredible act of nature. Tomorrow is April 8th, 2024, and a total solar eclipse will cross the continental United States for the last time until 2045.
While I show you the 400-mile, 6.5-hour journey we took to get to totality, let me tell you a little bit about the celestial dance of the eclipse.
The fact that we even get to experience eclipses at all like this is somewhat unique within the universe. While eclipses do happen on other planets, the moon is about 400 times as small as the sun, while also, coincidentally, being 400 times closer. This means the moon is almost able to perfectly cover the sun, and we're able to see the sun's corona. Since the moon is slowly drifting away, there will be a time millions of years in the future where total eclipses stop happening entirely. Speaking of the eclipse, let's get back on location. Our undecided location from yesterday ended up being here, a random field north of Houlton, Maine, the last town before Canada on I-95. This field just so happens to be pretty close to the center of the path of totality, so we're expecting about 3 minutes and 21 seconds. It's really incredible looking up at the sun right now with these glasses on. You can actually see the moon slowly start to cover the sun from the bottom right. We're about 15 minutes from totality now, and you can see the world around us has gotten visibly darker. It'll only continue like this until the total eclipse hits.
It doesn't just get gradually darker like a sunset, however. Your body has this innate weird feeling inside it that something is wrong because the sun is directly overhead, but it's still getting darker like it's setting. On top of the darkness, all of the colors get incredibly muted and dull. Even though it doesn't get as dark as my camera makes it out to be, the total eclipse still brings the surroundings to a twilight-like state. We're about to reach totality now. In the final moments before totality, a few interesting things happen. Shadows on the ground take a crescent shape to match the way the sun looks behind the moon, as well as a temperature drop and sudden winds increasing. You can start to see the formation of the 360-degree sunset. It's not fully there yet, but it will be during totality. In your final seconds, you can look up with the glasses and see beads of light through the craters and mountains of the moon before you have it. Totality. At this point, you can take your glasses off and look up on your own and see the spectacle. I'm still at a loss for words at how to describe the eclipse. It was one of the most incredible and awe-inspiring things I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think everyone needs to see it with their own eyes before they die. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Aiden. That's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us here and on Instagram at Rhody Cigar and pick up our print paper anywhere on campus to stay up to date with all your Rhody news. I'm your host, Nathan Robillard. This has been the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast, and as always, have a great week, Rhody.